A wealthy middle-aged man, wearing an expensive black coat, kneeling in front of a white marble grave under heavy rain. His shoulders are trembling, hands pressed on the gravestone, tears streaming down his face. Dark storm clouds in the sky, raindrops glistening. The gravestone reads, "Lily Blackwood, beloved daughter, gone too soon." A large oak tree nearby, shadows around him, cinematic, emotional, highly detailed, realistic lighting, cinematic depth of field. A teenage young woman standing behind a large oak tree, wet from rain, covering her mouth with her hands to stop crying. Her eyes wide with shock, watching a middle-aged man kneeling at a grave. Rain falling softly, cinematic lighting, emotional atmosphere, subtle reflections on the wet ground, realistic textures, highly detailed, dramatic depth. A modern luxurious home office with floor-to-ceiling windows. A teenage girl in casual clothes stands at the door, pleading with a middle-aged man who is busy on his laptop. The man is dressed in an expensive suit, not looking up, indifferent. Sunlight softly coming through the windows, warm interior lighting contrasting the cold emotion, cinematic, highly detailed, expressive faces, emotional storytelling. A burned, damaged car on a dark rainy night with emergency lights flashing. In the foreground, a young woman in a hospital bed, bandaged and unconscious, a silver necklace with a blue star on her chest. A nurse standing nearby, worried, dim hospital lighting, cinematic, highly emotional, realistic details, dramatic composition, tense and sad atmosphere. A young woman lying in a hospital bed, bandaged from burns, looking fragile but alert. A kind middle-aged nurse standing beside her, softly talking. Sunlight coming through the window, sterile hospital room, emotional atmosphere, cinematic lighting, realistic textures, tears in the woman's eyes, dramatic and heart-touching scene, high detail. A young woman walking through a quiet city street at night, wearing a hooded coat, blending into the shadows. Buildings and streetlights in the background, puddles reflecting lights, cinematic composition, emotional, mysterious and suspenseful atmosphere, highly detailed, realistic lighting, sense of isolation and survival. A young woman in modest clothing, standing in a coffee shop, watching a well-dressed middle-aged man speaking on the phone about business deals. She looks shocked and emotional, barely recognizable, cinematic interior lighting, reflections on the windows, highly detailed, dramatic, suspenseful, emotional tension visible on both faces. A young woman wearing a simple black dress, tying her hair back, helping a child at a crowded charity gala. A middle-aged man in a tailored suit looking in her direction, startled and slightly confused. Elegant gala environment, chandeliers, soft cinematic lighting, realistic textures, highly detailed, subtle tension and anticipation. A young woman sitting in a small apartment surrounded by newspaper clippings, photographs, and old letters, studying them carefully. She looks determined and emotional, with long shadows cast across the room. Dim, cinematic lighting, reflections on the wooden floor, realistic textures, suspenseful and thoughtful atmosphere, highly detailed, cinematic storytelling. A young woman in a volunteer outfit standing in the background of a luxurious charity gala, watching a middle-aged man in a tailored suit move through the crowd. Chandeliers glow overhead, elegant decorations, cinematic lighting, subtle reflections, highly detailed, emotional tension, suspenseful atmosphere, the woman's expression filled with longing and caution. A dangerous-looking man hiding in a dark alley, observing a young woman walking through the city streets. At night, streetlights casting long shadows, puddles reflecting the lights, suspenseful intense atmosphere, cinematic lighting, highly detailed, realistic textures, emotional tension visible on the woman's face as she senses danger. A young woman subtly nudging a small colorful painting toward a middle-aged man in a tailored suit at a charity auction. He pauses, staring at the painting with a mix of confusion and nostalgia. Elegant gala environment, chandeliers, soft cinematic lighting, realistic textures, highly detailed, emotional tension, subtle suspense, heart-touching storytelling. A luxurious office with floor-to-ceiling windows, a middle-aged man in a tailored suit staring at a small hand-crafted toy and a sketch left on his desk. His hands are trembling, eyes wide with disbelief. Papers scattered around, soft sunlight streaming in, cinematic lighting, emotional tension, realistic textures, highly detailed, heart-wrenching scene, subtle mystery atmosphere. A dangerous-looking man hiding in a dark alley, observing a young woman walking through the city streets at night. Streetlights casting long shadows, puddles reflecting the lights, suspenseful intense atmosphere, cinematic lighting, highly detailed, realistic textures, emotional tension visible on the woman's face as she senses danger. A rainy park with a middle-aged man holding a small bouquet of flowers, standing under a tree, looking at a flying kite sketch blown by the wind. A young woman watches from behind a tree, partially hidden, emotional intense expression, cinematic rain reflections, highly detailed, realistic lighting, dramatic storytelling, emotional suspense. A middle-aged man kneeling on the doorstep at night, picking up a small hand-carved toy left on the steps. Tears stream down his face, soft porch light illuminating him. In the shadows, a young woman watches quietly, smiling through tears. Cinematic composition, emotional atmosphere, realistic textures, dramatic lighting, heart-touching and suspenseful, highly detailed.